In what sense do you think this law could be linked with what happened to Edward Snowden and to the US? And I wanted to have your point of view on this affair.
Well, the Snowden affair is very interesting because it's complicated. He has he revealed information which I think almost every American believes should have been made public. For example, he revealed the fact that the number, the duration, the calling number, and various other information, not the content, but all the information about every single phone call made in the United States was turned over to the National Security Agency, and all of it was kept by the National Security Agency for 5 years. And much of it, and lots of it that had nothing to do with people suspected of terrorist attacks, were put into the NSA data bank and kept there permanently. I think most Americans believe that they were entitled to know that. And most of them, it turns out, believe that it should not be done. And so the Congress, with the support of the president and the reluctant acquiescence of the intelligence community, is about to end that program. And so we now know that that program was able to exist only because it was secret. And clearly it is not justified to keep a program secret because you know if you make it public, the public will stop you from doing it. So if Snowden had only released 2 or 3 things like that, I think he would be a hero to almost everybody in the United States. What makes it complicated is that he's also revealed other information, like what the United States knows about the cyber warfare capabilities of the Chinese government, that most Americans think should not have been made public. He also had this strange habit of going to unusual places, let's say, to hang out, to Hong Kong and then to Russia. But he's also served, I have to say, another important function. People have criticized him for not using the whistleblower procedures in the American law. And what he's pointed out is that the whistleblower procedures don't apply to contractors, and he was a contractor and not a government official. So he was not entitled to the protection of the whistleblower statute. He has said that he actually went to 15 different people in the chain of command, told them about these things, and they all did nothing about them. He also has pointed out correctly that in the American law, he does not have the right to a defense that the information he revealed was essential to public debate, a defense he clearly could make about at least some of the information. And therefore, he has said he will not come back to the United States and say in trial that he would do that if he had a whistleblower's defense, a public interest defense, but that he doesn't have one. And that's also stimulated a debate in the United States about extending the whistleblower defense to contractors and adding into the statute what the Joinet principles say is essential, which is a defense that the information you reveal was more important to public debate than any potential harm that might come from the information. So he's a very controversial figure, more, I think, in Germany even than in the United States, but in the United States as well.
I think, if I understand it, the question was asking you if you think the fear of another Snowden in Japan triggered that law.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I think what Snowden demonstrates is having a law doesn't stop this from happening. I think, if you go back to our first big whistleblower, Daniel Ellsberg, he actually thought the law was much worse than it was and expected to go to prison and was astonished when he was told that actually the law was very ambiguous and that nobody at that time, Daniel Ellsberg was the first person in the United States indicted for giving information to the press. There'd never been such an indictment. He had no idea that that's true and no idea that the statute was ambiguous because the U.S. government, to put it gently, lies to everybody who becomes government official. You're given a piece of paper that says, I understand that there is a statute that makes it a crime for me to reveal information to the press. And in order to get a security clearance, you have to sign that. I used to change it to, I understand I've been told that. that happened. And then many years later, one of the security guys I dealt with, was confronted with somebody else who says that. And he said, nobody since Halpern has asked that. And the guy said, I'm Halpern too. It was my son. And he raised the same objection to it. But so for somebody who feels as strongly as Ellsberg did and as Snowden did about the thing being wrong, releases it expecting to run the risk of criminal penalties. So I don't think you deter those kind of people by this. Moreover, there's no evidence, and I think no reason to believe, that the German government is doing something at that kind of scale.